So this is going to go a lot better if you kind of stay with us and not try to jump too far ahead. If you try to jump too far ahead, then you'll end up getting confused and you'll be saying, oh, wait, let's for it, and then I'll get mad and then it just won't be good. So first thing we're going to do, okay, as everybody on your notes, this is the back side of page 4 where it says P5, and we are going to graphically solve this little quadratic equation. Now, this quadratic equation, of course, could be solved other ways, but we are just getting some practice with our calculators so that we'll be able to solve the big ones when it comes, the hard equations, when it comes time to do that. So before I put it in my calculator, I've got to have it equal to 0. All right, so if you look down at like letter C, before we start graphing this, we'll have to move that 20 to the other side. So I'm going to go to my calculator, turn it on, and I'm going to type in that equation. So I go to right here where it says y equals. Everybody see that button that says y equals? If you have something already in there, just hit clear. It will take it out. If you have more than one thing, go ahead and go down and hit clear and down and hit clear till you have all the equations out. We don't want any equations in there except the one we're graphing. Every equation in there, when you hit graph, it'll graph them all, and we just all get all confused. So make sure you have just, right now it should be blank. Now we're going to put in 2x squared plus 5x minus 3. So 2, everybody knows what that is. We just hit 2. And then x, can you see where I'm pointing right here? You have a button on your calculator right here, and it has an x and a t and a theta, and I don't know what else on it. That is your variable button. That is the button that your variables are at. It's right here. That's your variable button. Miss McCoy? Okay, your calculator's in the wrong mode. So what you need to do, so does everybody else have an X? When you hit that button, you get an X? Okay. You need to go to mode, press mode, and then you need to go down and make sure your mouse is highlighted. Alright, so press the X, and then, once we press the X, then press your squared button. Get in the habit of using your squared button, which is right here, your squared button. So now it should say 2x squared, and then we'll do plus, just the regular plus button, 5x again, back to your variable button, and then minus 3. Everybody okay? Now we're going to just hit graph. This is the graph button right over here, the one that says graph on it. Hit graph. Now,
You did it all.
Okay, we have all kinds of possible issues, and we need to talk about these, because some of you are lucky. I'm lucky, I hit it and I got my picture. I'm good. But the next problem I do may not work out so well, so I have to know how to deal with it no matter what. So those of you that have an error in your window range, and I want everybody to listen to this because it's going to happen to you at some point. I need you to go to the button that says window, right there. It's right next to the y equals button right there in the top row. Go to the button that says window, and it tells you how your window is set. Now, this is the X part of the window, minimum and maximum. Min and max minimum must be less than the maximum. So you're going to get a window error, range error, if you have a min that's bigger than your max. So the first thing I want you to do is make sure that your minimum is a number less than your maximum. And that would be true for the X's and for the Y's. Scale, just set it at 1 and leave it at 1. It'll be more complicated problems, we'll adjust that, but for now, just set the scale, where it says X scale at 1 and Y scale at 1. The window that I have is called the standard window. That's the default window of the calculator. If yours is saying something else, then someone has messed it up, which is fine, because we need to change it for various problems. But if you want to use my window, it's called the standard window, and you can get the standard window by pressing Zoom 6. Zoom 6 will give you the standard window. So now you should see that picture.
I didn't have a window problem. I just give me a straight line.
Yeah, mine gave me a straight line too.
Okay. So how did you fix it?
Yeah, do X2.
Okay. You need to, now it may not say error in the window, but go ahead and zoom 6. If you zoom 6 and don't get this picture, then you typed in your equation wrong. You need to go back and type in your equation. Okay? Okay, you didn't zoom 6, did you zoom 6? Probably have a stack on. All right, so now everyone has the picture, right? So, there might be a problem that we're going to do later where Zoom 6 is not the window you want. Remember, Zoom 6 gives you the standard window. That is a great place to start. Okay? If that's not big enough or it's too big, we'll make adjustments. But for this problem, that's perfect. That's perfect. So now we have graphed our equation. When we say we're going to solve it, what that means is we're going to find these points right here. Now this is an easy equation. Some of you are going to eyeball it and say, oh, I know what the answers are. I don't want you doing that, because when we do the harder equations, you're not going to be able to eyeball it. You're going to have answers like 1.12, and there's no way you're going to be able to eyeball that. So we want to go through the actual steps to finding these points, which we call the x-intercepts, or the roots, or the zeros of the problem. Those are all words that mean the answers. These are the answers to the question. All right, so we only find one at a time. We're going to find this one first. Okay, everybody's going to find this one first, so we're all working on the same numbers. So what I want you to do is press second calc. So second is right here, and calc, you'll see it written in the blue. Remember, when you hit the blue button, you're doing the blue keys. So I want second calc. And then it pulls up this menu. Now, one of the words I said that describes these points is zeros. It's right there. So you're going to go down to that and press enter. We're going to find the 0. Now, I have no idea where your cursor is. Mine's flashing right here. Yours is flashing somewhere. It doesn't matter. We're going to move it. Okay? So here's what we have to do. We have to tell the calculator to find the 0, this one. So to do that, it's saying, okay, how far left do I look? So I want you to press your arrow key, your left arrow key, until that cursor, it's going to move the cursor, until it gets somewhere over here, to the left of the point you're looking for. We are looking for that point. I want you to move your cursor so it's left of that.
So
anywhere.
So like above the x-axis.
Yep. Anywhere over there, doesn't matter. And as soon as you get it over there, press enter. Now, what that will do, and you may or may not be able to see it, because I can't see it on my screen here, but it puts a little arrow thing, which sets your left boundary. Now, see what the calculator's saying? Now I need my right boundary. So now you're gonna move the cursor, using your right arrow button, you're gonna move the cursor so it's over here somewhere. Kids, don't move it clear over here, because there's 2 zeros in there. You have to narrow it down for the calculator. So you set your left bound here, set your right bound here. Move the cursor so it's down here, and press enter. You are trying to narrow in on that 0. See the little arrow that popped up here? So now you're telling the calculator, I want you to find the 0 that is between those 2 arrows. So let's take our cursor and move it up till it's about right there where we want it. You probably aren't going to be able to get it exactly on there, but pretty close. Press enter, and it gives you the coordinates. Says that point right there is the point -3, 0.
And then we do the same thing for the other side.
And then we do the same thing for the other one. So we go back to the beginning and we start with second calc. You got to start all over. Go down to 0. Now it's asking you for your left bound. Remember, this is the point you're finding, right? So for left bound, where are you going to put your cursor? Down here somewhere?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Down here somewhere. You want to be, see where my finger is? I want to be to the left of my finger. So I'm going to put my cursor down here somewhere. We want to be to the left of the point we are searching for. And as soon as you get that arrow set, you'll press enter, and it's going to set that arrow. Then what are you going to do? Look what the calculator's saying. What are you going to do? Move it to the right of that point. Remember, this is the point, so move it to the right. Move it up here somewhere. Press enter. Now, when it says guess, you're just going to move it down somewhere in there and press enter, and it will give you the 0. What does it say?
0.5 is 0.
0.5, 0. So there are the solutions to the equation. If we had solved this, well, actually the factors, so I'll just factor it real quick and show you. X equals 1/2, x equals -3. That's exactly what the calculator said. But again, the point of us doing this is so that we can solve big, hideous equations like this. Okay? Our calculator will solve those doing the procedure that we're learning right now. Okay? So let's try the next one. X squared minus 8x equals -15. Now wait a minute. What's wrong with that? Gotta add the 15. So the first thing you're gonna do is this. And then this is what you're gonna type into the calculator. So remember how we do that. We're gonna go back to y equals.
This is not in my notes.
Yeah, this is the second problem in your notes. This is B. We're on the back side of page 4, the section that we skipped yesterday because it's the graphing part. Page 4, the back side's P5, exercise 1. All right, so everybody remember, we're going to press y equals. Now clear out the old equation because we're done with that one, and put in your new one. So x, that's your variable button. Remember, to get x, you're going to press this button right here. It's going to give you x. Then hit your squared button. That will square it for you. And then minus 8x. Be sure, by the way, that you're using the minus not the negative sign, minus 8x plus 15. And hit graph. Now, that's a pretty good picture, isn't it? Now, you don't have to change a thing. I just want to show you something. If I make a window adjustment, I'm going to get exactly the same parabola, but it looks different. If I make another window adjustment, so all adjusting the window does is give you a different view. It doesn't change your answer at all. It just gives you a different view of the picture.
What happens if you set it equal to the max?
What do you mean?
Like, you know how you said the minimum always has to be lower than the maximum?
Yes.
So I'm saying, what if you made it equal? What does it look like?
Well, it gives you a window range error. That's how you get the error. The minimum has to be less than the maximum. Okay. All right, so now we're going to find, I'll go back to what you saw. All right, now we're going to find our zeros. So do you remember the steps? Let's find this left one first, right here. Second calc. And then once you press second calc, the calculator pretty much tells you what to do. Once you press 0, I mean. You need your left bound. Now, how do you know where to put the bound? There isn't a place to put the bound. What you have to do is make sure the bound.
Wait, I don't know what calc is.
Second calc.
Oh, it's up.
Second calc is right up here.
0.
If this is the point you're looking for, your left bound has to, okay, so think of a line being drawn there. Your left bound has to be to the left of that point. Anywhere to the left. So if your cursor's here and you press enter, great. If it's here and you press enter, great. Anywhere to the left of that point. And then likewise with the right bound. Now, with the right bound, you have to be very careful because you don't want to get too far right because you can't get past that point. So I would come over here and set my right bound here maybe. And that little arrow thing will come up there. So anywhere to the left of the point, anywhere to the right of the point, as long as you're not getting past the other answer.
And when it says guess, where do you put it?
On the point. Or close to the point. You may not be able to get it on it, and that's fine. Just get it in there close. And then the calculator will put it on it for you. So what did it say? Where was that first 0 there? That was a 3? I may have drawn my picture wrong. Is it 3? I think it's positive 3, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Was that positive 3?
Yeah, it's positive 3.
My picture's wrong, but that's positive 3. All right, let's find the other one. So to find the other one, we start all over again. We second calc. Where's your calculator? Get it out and work with us. All this stuff has to be made up on your own time, honey. Okay. Now, so second calc, start all over again. Now you're going to set your left bound. Here's where your 0 is. You're going to set your left bound somewhere over here. And your right bound somewhere over here. And what did you get?
5, 0.
5, 0. Now, these are not always going to come out nice round numbers. These are simple equations. when we do this for real with the big bad equations, that we have to solve by graphing. There's no other way to do it. We have to solve by graphing. We're gonna get wacko answers like 1.675 and stuff like that.
We round those.
All right, let's try the next one. We'll do one more. I don't know if we have to do that last one, but let's do one more. What's the first thing you're going to do with this equation?
Distribute.
You can leave, you don't have to distribute. You certainly can distribute, but what you have to do is move
20 across.
the 20 to the other side. Your calculator doesn't care. Parentheses are fine. If you want to distribute, go for it. But I'm going to leave it just like this and show you that it's okay to leave it just like that when I type it in. So remember what we do? We go back to y equals. We clear out what's in there. X is our variable. Parentheses, everybody see the parentheses button on your calculator right there? 3x plus 11 parentheses minus 20.
Yeah.
Now, did yours do that? Did it go down and then come up?
Yeah.
For this problem, that's fine, because the points we are looking for are here and here, right? And we can see them on the screen, and so we're fine. Later, we'll be looking for the minimum value. Well, then we'd have a problem, right? Because where's the minimum value? Somewhere off the screen. So then we would have to adjust our window to make sure we saw that. You can do that now if you want to, but there's no need to do that because I can see the 2 points that I want. So go ahead and find your 2 zeros, one at
why
a
the
time.
calculators never give like an actual point? I guess like an accurate point.
What do you mean?
Cause like when I go across this line, like you said, do the little bars or whatever.
Yeah.
Like why can't it just like say? Cause it's like giving like 1.2 and stuff.
I don't
So
know.
why do they do that?
I don't
Why
know.
can't they just give
Probably
me the
just to
right answer?
infuriate you.
Do you want us to round if it's like not a perfect number?
Yeah, but we haven't hit that yet. I got -5 for my first one.
I got 1.3.
Did you get -5 for that one?
I got it.
Yep, -5 comma 0, that's the point. Yes, you're right. So then the other one is,
Oh, yeah.
Second tray. You have to hit second trace and then go to zero. And then
To do the second one.
yeah. Use the first and then
I got 1 point repeating threes
That's what I got.
for the other one. So when I write my answer, 1 point repeating threes, or if you happen to know what decimal that is, what decimal is that, or what fraction is that? Not what decimal, what fraction is that? 1 1/3?
Yeah.
So you could certainly write 1 1/3 if you wanted to.
Or could we just put like 1 and just round it?
No, you can put 1 point repeating threes, or you can put 1 1/3, because that's what it is.
Just put 1.
Yes,
So can you show how you got 1.3 again?
yes. So I am going to find, so it's this 0 right here. All right, going through this one more time. So I'm going to find the rightmost 0. I'm going to find this 0 right here. So I go to second calc. So second calc, press my blue button, and that pulls up the calc menu. I go down to 0 because in this problem, I am looking for the zeros, the x-intercepts. If we were looking for the maximum or the minimum, I would still go to second calc, but I would choose maximum or minimum from that menu. The second calc menu gives you all kinds of points on your graph. So now I have second calc, I've chosen 0, and the calculator's asking me for my left bound. That is the point I'm looking for. So I'm going to move my cursor down here somewhere. Think of that. I want to be to the left of my hand. So I'm going to move that cursor down here somewhere, anywhere down here. There is no single magical point. Anywhere down here, and press enter. As soon as I move it down there and press enter, it pulls up that little arrow thing. Right there it is, that little arrow thing. It says, okay, that's your left bound. Now, I'm going to set it, the cursor's down here somewhere flashing. I'm going to move it to the right, so it will be over here somewhere, to the right of that point. So I'm just going to press my right arrow. Now it's over there somewhere, and I press enter. And that pulls up that arrow. Now I just move my cursor down somewhere in here close to that point, saying, what's your guess? Well, it's in there somewhere. So I'll move it down in there and press enter. And then I should get...
Every time I click,
Yeah, I got it.
every time I click enter, it says error.
Okay, well, you're doing something wrong
Or the
then.
bottom? Did you start from this
I'll
side?
help you after class. Okay?
Down here, up here.
All right, so that's how we find
Oh, yeah.
our zeros. Okay? All right. All right, so let's go back and finish up some other things then. Good work.
We're done with calculator.
We're done with the calculator for now, or at least that part of the calculator. Okay, would somebody hit the lights for us, please? Thank you so much. All right, so now we're getting back in gear here. By the way, that's going to be an important skill in a couple sections still in this first chapter. We're going to be throwing balls into the ground, throwing balls up into the air, and we're going to be looking for their highest point. We're going to be looking for when they hit the ground, and we're going to let our calculator do that. So try to remember, maybe you wrote it down. Type in the equation, second calc. Right? That's how we get that picture. That's how we get those zeros and maximums and minimums. We haven't done that part yet. Okay. I think we're ready for this problem right here, which is the first problem on page 5. Am I right? Is that where we are?
You're right.
Now, you absolutely could do this problem on your calculator, but that's not what these directions say. These directions say solve by completing the square. Now, we talked about this last time, a little bit confusing process. This problem's even worse though. What is different about this one? Do you notice something different about it? It has a 2 out here. This is bad news if we're completing a square. But luckily, it's easy to fix.
We're geniuses.
All we have to do is divide everything by 2.
See, that was smart.
Completely legitimate. Going to divide everything by 2. So we end up with an equation that looks like x squared minus 10x plus 2.
Yeah.
Now it looks like the other ones that we did. Alright, so someone impress me. Christina?
I have a question. What if it's like a 3 and you can't?
Well, Unfortunately, life is not all whole numbers. So if it's a 3, then you have to deal with the 3 halves. You just have to work with it. And that is one of the reasons why I hate completing the square, because if I don't rig the problem, we just did it like this. We did, well, that one would be okay, but if we did like the one we just did, that last one, it would be full of fractions. And it just happens, it's just part of the process.
Just
Luckily for
mathematics.
us, no fractions here. Who remembers what I do first to get the ball rolling?
Bring switch to the other side.
Audie? You okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The action's up here. Alright, what do I need to do?
Bring the 2 to the other side.
Bring the 2 to the other side. And even though I'm moving the 2 over, I'm going to leave a gap in there because I know there is a new number that I have to put in that spot. Right? So, Jimmy. Jimmy?
Jim.
Do you remember how to find the number that's going to fill that gap? It has to do with this number. You do something to this number. And? Yes, that's exactly right. So half of 10 is 5, squared is 25. So we're going to add 25 to both sides. Now, Zion, the next step is we do something, we rewrite this. Once we've taken half of 10, squared it, and added that 25 to both sides, we rewrite this as something squared. Do you remember what goes in here? Yes! Beautifully done, Zion. It's x. 5 comes from 25, square root of 25, and that's a minus because that's a minus. This sign right here will always match. So x minus 5 squared equals 23?
Yeah.
Alright, now Schlebecker, you remember what we do next? We've got this squared thing equal to 23 now. Yep, square root both sides. Yep, so we're going to take the square root of both sides. And what always happens when you take the square root of something squared? Cancel. So we have x minus 5
Plus or minus.
equal to,
So wait. Were we already gonna subtract that too? Like originally there you said.
well, this is how we got 23.
Yeah, so you brought that 2 over.
Uh-huh, you had to do that first
Oh, okay, yes.
because you had to make a space for the 25.
Alright, thank you.
So the 2 came over, I filled in with the 25, the 2 and the 25 got added. Now here's the part we sometimes forget. Remember me telling you that when you square root both sides, the plain number always gets the plus or minus? And then we have one more step. We get x by itself. So what is x going to equal?
5 plus square root of 23.
5 plus or minus the square root of 23, which you can write as 5 plus root 23 and 5 minus root 23, but you don't have to. So it's okay to write it this way, it's okay to write it this way, whichever way you want to do it.
Wow, that's big body size right there.
What do you do with the 10x?
The 10x gets swallowed up. Remember, x minus 5 squared means x minus 5x minus 5. If I FOIL that out, it turns into this. I'm factoring it.
Okay.
I'm factoring it. I can't take the square root of it, Christina, when it looks like this. But if I factor it and write it like this, then I can take the square root of it. So that's why I'm doing that. Okay. The directions say, solve using the quadratic formula. Who knows the quadratic formula?
Is
Audie?
plus or minus the
It's
square root.
isn't it b squared plus or minus roots something squared minus 4ac over 2a.
Yeah.
Had a boy.
Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And you know what we're talking about in terms of the a, b, and c, right? In this problem, a would be 1. A goes with the x squared. B would be 8. And c would be negative 9. So if you know the formula, then it's just a matter of plugging stuff in. Just take those 3 numbers, A, B, and C, and plug them in. So x equals negative 8 plus or minus the square root of 8 squared minus 4 times A times C all over 2A. All right, so I'm getting over there kind of far. Some of you maybe can't see it. So under that radical, what do I have? 64 plus 36. Does everybody get that that's a plus?
Yes, ma'am.
Because it's a minus a negative. And I'm timesing 4AC together, negative 4AC together. What's 64 and 36?
100.
Oh, that's 100.
What's in the left?
It's negative 4AC, so it'd be minus 4 times 1 times negative 9. So negative 8 plus or minus the square root of 100 over 2. And of course, everybody knows the square root of 100 is 10. We don't need a calculator for that. All right, now, carefully, we got to split this up. Negative 8 plus 10. 2 divided by 2, 1. So x equals negative 8 plus 10 over 2, which is 1. But x also equals negative 8 minus 10 over 2, which is negative 9. Is it time already?
Man, we just started having fun. Wow. I was actually starting to enjoy now.
Time out. Nobody leaves till I get my calculators back. And I should get back 1